Welcome to the Be Student Podcast, and thank you for joining me. I'm Betsy Gardner. I'm a CEO in Central Florida, a public speaker, a business consultant, and executive coach. I've worked across many industries and sectors, spanning several global markets. As the president and CEO of the Winter Park Chamber, I have the unique opportunity of connecting with the most dynamic, talented, and innovative professionals across our region. Think about it as the B-side to a record, where there's the thing that they recorded as the hit, but then there's the stuff they're passionate about on the B side. I launched Be Student Podcast to bring the experts I'm in conversation with on a daily basis to you, to help you be more successful and impactful in your work. So let's get started. Welcome to the Be Student Podcast, and thank you for joining me. I'm Betsy Gardner. Today we're going to discuss courage with my guest, Lauren Sigman, who is a fine jewelry designer and business owner. Lauren found the courage to take a leap of faith, leaving her corporate job to follow her passion. Lauren, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Before you think I'm a guy and I need to tune out from this podcast, I want to make sure that you know we're going to have some value-added things for you at the end if you stick with us about how to procure jewelry for your loved one in a way that makes sense. And also, I think Lauren's entrepreneurial journey is going to be inspirational to everyone, so I hope you'll stick with us. Lauren, I have wanted to do this for such a long time.
So nice.
Your
Thank
jewelry
you.
is so fun.
Thank you.
And what I want to contextualize for people is that it's fine jewelry. You're actually casting your designs in gold with diamonds, things like that. So when I thought about what I wanted to know about you is let's talk about courage as your secret weapon. On this podcast, we really want to talk about the B side of the record. So the A side is, yes, you are an entrepreneur and you own your own jewelry business, but what did it take to get there? And what did it take to make what you do special? So that's what I've wanted to know for a long time. That's what we're going to dive into today.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about your story. I know you weren't always a jewelry designer.
That's true. And I'll give you the high overview. I spent my first 20 years in the corporate world working for a telecommunications company in executive sales. And so doing something totally different. I got married. I had 3 children, and I was a successful salesperson. And there was no reason to leave my job. I was successful at it. I enjoyed it. But ultimately, the subject matter was really boring to me. So at some point when I was secure, we were financially secure. And I said to my husband, I'm desperate to leave and do something else. I was lucky that I was able to do that.
But it still took courage to do it.
Well, of course, I left an amazing job.
Yeah.
And I left full benefits.
The opportunity costs, right.
The opportunity costs. And nowadays, more than ever, I can see as an entrepreneur what I left behind. So, but I'm so glad I did it.
So this is interesting. I've been an entrepreneur 3 times. I had entrepreneurial parents. And people who aren't entrepreneurs think being entrepreneurs is really glamorous. I don't think it is. I think being an entrepreneur is sometimes a soul-crushing siege where you have to ask 24-year-old girls named Caitlin for a trunk show to happen at their hotel, right? So tell us about that. Like what was it that sparked your idea to be an entrepreneur and gave you that courage to make that big leap? Yes, you had some security, but it's still expensive to open a business. It still has a risk attached to it. You're still putting capital at risk. You're still calculating that opportunity cost from leaving your telecommunications role. Tell us about that process for you.
And I don't want to give the impression that I had security, that I didn't have to do anything. Right. I just had one person I knew in my corner. Now, I had a lot of people in my corner, but I had that one person who said, yes, go do it, make it happen. And a little bit, same thing. I came from a very entrepreneurial family. Everyone in my life owned their own business. I was really the only person who actually worked for a corporate worked in the corporate environment. And so I was the outcast. So when it came time to open up a business of my own, it felt natural to me to do that because that's what I came from. Now, was it hard? So hard. Is it still hard? It's still hard. I didn't come from a place that I had a lot of examples. I wanted to open up a fine jewelry business. I came from telecommunications. So I didn't have any best practices in place. And at that time, when I opened up my business, people were pretty secretive in the field about sharing information. It wasn't readily available.
Now you could probably watch a YouTube video about how to do it, right?
Literally. And so it took me triple the amount of time that it should have taken because I just went the longest, hardest route. But ultimately, I just loved the subject matter and I just kept pushing.
So some of your courage was inherited, right? And we accept that. And some of mine was too, because when you have that modeled for you, it's easy to say, well, this is what we do in my family and it's been normalized, right? So you're going to follow that path. For someone who's listening and thinking, well, I didn't have that modeled for me, talk about how you get through the hard stuff. Because we ask business owners, what keeps you up at night? And we know things keep you up at night. When you're the last person standing in charge of that business, your name is on the lease, your name is on the incorporation documents, you're responsible if somebody slips at the business, whatever that is. How do you get through those moments of keeping you up at night? How did you get through that moment of, I've never been a jewelry designer and it's an opaque learning curve about how to become a jewelry designer? What do you think was it that were the ingredients for you to take those courageous steps?
Well, first I have to say, if you're a successful business, you never get over it. You're always getting better. You're always seeking what you don't know. You're always worried. You're always worried about being better, course correcting, making the changes that need to be made so you can accomplish your goals. At that time when I first started, I was just a little naive. But now what keeps me up at night is, are the goals the same? What does the environment look like? What do I need to do to course correct while looking at our current environment? How do I juggle my personal needs and my aesthetic goals with what actually sells? There's a lot of things you have to ask yourself as an entrepreneur that are different than just your personal style. Also, I've had to learn so many things. How do you hire employees? How do you make sure you have the right lease in place? How do you deal with a product that is a commodity and goes up and down?
The raw goods price goes up and down all the time.
That's really challenging. So I'm always learning. I'm always trying to do better and figure out what the environment looks like.
So what are the methodologies that you use for decision support to say? So I used to own a children's swimwear company. And we designed stuff that didn't interest me, quite frankly. Like the stuff I'm not sure I would even bought our product, but it was super commercially viable and successful. And I would always want it to look a certain way, but our designer's like, that's not commercial. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
And so that struggle, I think, for people who are creatives is, yes, you're creative, but you also have to do something that's commercially viable or you don't have a sustainable business.
Yeah.
What do you use in terms of information? How do you test whether or not, do you use focus groups? Do you use Instagram? How do you know what's going to be commercially successful? I know you know what is because you've sold it, and you probably develop an instinct around that. Like, when you do this daisy on it, it's going to be. Tell us your process for that.
I don't. You don't know. You really don't know. What I've done is I've watched a lot of artists fail who are so talented, who cannot get out of their own head because they do what they do, they want what they want, they create what they're going to create. You like it or you don't. And there's great value in that. And I respect that. But then there's also owning a business.
Mm-hmm. Are you making your profit margins doing it that way?
Yeah. Correct. So you can have your pride or you can have a business that is actually making money.
Yeah.
So I've watched a lot of that and I've had to balance it. Do a little bit of what's commercial versus a little bit of just what I love. And this, when I changed from a wholesaler to a retailer, it was very helpful because I got so much more feedback. As a wholesaler, you sell to the jewelry stores and then they sell to the end user, and you really don't get honest feedback. You don't get enough feedback, certainly. But now as a retailer, I get to talk to people and I really get to see what resonates with people. So I have a much better understanding of what's going to be successful and what's not. And here's the ultimate thing. At some point as a business owner, you have to decide who you are. And I am not for everybody. I understand that. I just have to be for enough people. So if I'm for enough people, and those are the people that are going to come in and they like my aesthetic and they like what I'm doing, then that's okay with me. And I'm okay with that. I don't have to sell every commercial viable, like popular jewelry product or make it quickly because, oh my gosh, everyone's buying this. I've done enough capsule collections to try to stay on trend to know that that is a failure for a small business.
So when you're thinking about the things that enabled you to be courageous, I love that you put yourself in front of the customer. You knew you had that sales pedigree from the telecom world.
Yeah.
Do you think that helped close the courage gap for you? Is that I'm going to now put myself in front of the customer, and you could believe in your selling skills? Was that part of the equation?
I'm a natural salesperson. I love selling. I mostly really enjoy people. I have a social exhaustion level like most people, where at the end of the day, I just need some quiet for a while. But I also have third child syndrome, where I'm always look at me, I can do it. I can do it. No, really, I'm going to be successful. So I have a little bit of that. And so much of success is your experiences, how you grew up, where you are in your family. There's a million little things that make someone successful or not. And so for me, it's just toughness, if you will. Enough people giving me the side eye, should you do this? Me wanting to prove people wrong. And also just tweaking, and knowing I could do it.
So let's talk about your creative journey. Were you an artist, or were you designing jewelry and you're a little girl? What was that like?
So I've loved jewelry since I was a kid. Since I was a little kid, I was playing in my grandma's jewelry box. So many girls have the same story. I was grabbing for all the sparkly things early on. But everyone in my family is super creative.
Okay.
But everyone in my family went on to do traditional things, mostly go to law school. And so I was on my way to law school because that's what you did in my family. You went to law school, no matter how creative you were. So I didn't know you could make money as an artist. That was not introduced to me. So along the way, after I spent 20 years doing it the way that I thought you should, I thought, I have an undergraduate degree. I have a master's degree. I'm relatively intelligent. I'm going to take some metalsmith classes. I'm going to learn the business of fine jewelry and see if I can put together a small collection.
And never you said, I'm going to be casting this in gold and diamonds, and what if it doesn't work out?
I never said.
I love that about you.
I never said, what if it doesn't work out? I don't think it occurred to me that it couldn't work out.
Okay, so self-belief is a key ingredient to your success here. That is fantastic.
Yeah, it just... Had I had
I'd be
that,
terrified to be if I'm going to cast this in a mold and have it be made, I guess you can remelt the gold down and start again. Maybe It's a very forgiving medium. I don't know. But correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, of course. But
it's a lot of your time that went into
so
making
much
it that way.
time and so much money. And yeah, just a little bit of cockiness. It's kind of dumb. I didn't think that I could fail.
So we know that women struggle with self-belief. We know that women struggle with confidence gaps, especially if they've been a mom, right? Stayed home from work for 6 months or longer.
Yes.
They're going to have a confidence gap. So if they want to come back as an entrepreneur, they're going to have to double down on self-belief, right?
Yeah.
And so this is a great role model for them. So a key ingredient to being able to use that courage to get the business off the ground is anchor into your self-belief. I love that.
I think that's such a good point. It is so important that we stop questioning that little voice in the back of our head that says we can't, and just keep moving forward, because people will believe what you tell them.
Yep.
Right? And we have to stop apologizing and stop taking a back seat to, and just be authentically who you are. And I see so many moms put in the position where they chose to stay home for a while, and then they lost their confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard because our world moves very quickly. But the end result is these women are so amazing, so capable. Now, I'm not sure I would suggest you go off and start a business about something you don't know about like I did. But again, I don't know that I would have done it. I would have done a few things differently, certainly, but I did it the way I did it. And, I would encourage anyone else
Seems to be working out.
I guess so.
So tell us, when you did your first capsule collection, how did you know it was a winner?
Okay, so that's such a great story. I left my company. I met a guy who was an artist, a jewelry artist, who agreed to take me on as an understudy. I studied with him for about a year, and he taught me the business of jewelry.
Wow.
Like the overview, because I didn't go to art school. How do you solder? How do you cast? How do you use photography in the jewelry world? Some of those basic things you have to know. I went about putting together a small collection. And at that time, I was very friendly with a jewelry store in Winter Park. And the women who owned it were so kind. They were girls. They were so encouraging. And they said, when you finish, we want to see it.
Oh my gosh.
So I went about creating this small collection. I set it up in my kitchen. I was all prepared. I invited them over, and they came and they circled my island, and they looked at it and they're like, we love it and we want to bring it into our jewelry store. And I proceeded to have a lot of drinks after they left, and I was so excited. But from that interaction, they went on, and one of the owners encouraged me to apply to a wholesale show in New York City, which was like, I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Did you have imposter syndrome at all when that was happening? Or
after I was accepted to the show and I went to the show, then I did. I was just too naive before to do it. Yeah. I walked into that show with my sister, and I was like, from Orlando, Florida. And I was like, hi. And people just gave me the side eye. And they were like, who is this new person? We don't know you. So suspicious. And I just thought, what have I done?
And how'd the show go?
The show was amazing. Stores loved my collection. But the other designers did not love me. They didn't know me. It's not that they didn't love me. It's just,
that's a tough world.
It's a very tough world. And it's loosened up. But at that time, it was very, very tough. So the show went great, and that started my career. I mean, from then I became a wholesaler. I applied to wholesale shows. I went to Vegas. I went to Chicago. I went to New York, and I found out who liked my aesthetic, who didn't. That's when I found out, when I created this first capsule collection, which was like floral. That's when I found out that, guess what? This is going to be the rest of your career, because stores, if they introduce you to their clients, your next collection better feel like you.
Yeah.
And it better be the same genre, because they've spent all this time and energy marketing you in this case space. And if it doesn't look like you, so I became a brand unknowingly. I niched myself into a brand unknowingly, but fortunately I still love it. I still love, my kind of hippie flowers, peace signs, whatever. But I've learned so much. I've learned so much about marketing, about branding, about I love it that people can say to me, oh, I met someone at lunch. I didn't know who they were, but I recognized your jewelry. And
that
they
fun?
said, is that a Lauren piece? And that's so flattering and gratifying.
Well, I
So
love the confidence that you bring to your entire experience, certainly creatively, but also commercially. But I was also glad to hear you say that you did have that flash of imposter syndrome at the wholesale show. I started a children's swimwear line, and I
yeah.
remember we got into Harrods department store in
Oh
London,
my
and I was
gosh.
like, wait, we're hanging next to Montclair ski wear for kids and
Mm-hmm.
Vilebrequin swimsuits for kids, and we're like out of my friend's kitchen in London. Like, we didn't
Yeah.
want anyone to know just how humble this
Yeah.
was. And I
Totally.
remember getting my contractor badge with my picture on it to go into Harrods. And I'm
Oh
like,
my-
is anyone going to like unveil us as the
Right.
imposters that we
Oh
actually
my
are?
gosh.
But that's what's so exciting about entrepreneurship is like when you get that break, you better take it and you
Yeah.
better overcome whatever imposter thing you have because
Yeah.
somebody saw something in what you're doing and you
Yeah.
better run that football all the way down the field. And I love that you
Yeah.
came over that mountain, got past it, and have had that success.
Yeah. Thank you.
So tell us about the decision to go to retail.
So, if you had asked me 5 years ago, I would have told you I would have never gone into retail. I hated retail. I was a manager at the Gap in college. I was like, this is not for me. But when the store in Pennsylvania opened, it was a collaborative space. And one of my friends at the time really talked me into it. You could have this corner. It would be great. I was seeing people at that time. I still had a bunch of wholesale accounts, but a lot of people were also locally coming into my house, and a lot of people weren't. They were emailing me, where can we see you? Where can we see you? And quite frankly, I didn't want everyone at my house. It became awkward. So when I had a chance to open up something from a retail standpoint, I was super hesitant, but I thought I can control this. It'll be a couple days a week.
Oh, yeah.
It'll
A
be
hobby business,
fine,
right? Yeah.
right? It'll be no
Never is.
problem. Well, we all know how that goes. So I entered into this retail environment, which was honestly very amazing because there were 3 other businesses. I learned so much from them. I didn't know anything about retail. They taught me how to be a retailer. Like, I just knew at that point how to be a jeweler. I didn't know how to be a retailer. So I really value the time I spent at that store, learning what I know now. But most importantly, I realized how nice it was to talk to my customer. Because up until then, I was
And they're
talking.
really loyal to you. I love how your customers are so loyal
My
to you.
customers are amazing. They're amazing people. Like I said before, I'm not for everybody, but for the people who like my aesthetic, they become collectors and they want to come back and see what's new. And they're just lovely, loyal people. And I'm so appreciative of them. And it's so nice to talk to people and what works, what doesn't work. What do people are like, or like, oh, I love that. And so retail, grabbed me in a way that I didn't expect. I still have a love-hate relationship with it. I still can do nothing at Christmas time. Like, weekends are no longer mine. It's still really hard to be a retailer, but it has propelled my business in a whole other direction, which I really appreciate.
I'm so glad to hear you say
Yeah.
that. Well, we love it because you're close to our office.
Yeah.
We really like that a lot. And we love supporting female entrepreneurs. And I promised the guys something here, right?
Okay.
So one of the reasons why I selfishly wanted Lauren on is I wanted you to teach me how to layer necklaces. I mean, look at this layered necklace plate, right? I can't do this. I don't think I have the courage to do that. But Lauren put me in this gorgeous necklace. So I get to try this on and wear it for today, which I'm really excited about. But you promised to teach us how to layer necklaces. And I want the guys listening. First of all, I want the women listening to come buy your necklaces and learn how to layer necklaces because I don't know how to do that with confidence. That's the courage piece for me. So this is the fun part. Will you take us through some of the pieces you brought?
Yes.
And give us your keys
I will.
to layering necklaces. And also, we can't move our microphones.
Yes. I'm going to give the guys a break from the standpoint that they do not have to learn this. If they choose to, and I love my husbands who actually love jewelry and they want to be involved, but mostly what they need to do is be willing to listen to their wives to say, I've been here, I've made a wish list. These are the things that I want.
Okay.
And call us. Call us or come in because we already have your wives wife's wish list. And we will take care of all of it for you. That is all they need to do unless they want to be involved, and then we're happy to include them. We just want to make it as easy as possible.
And I think that's what guys
for our
want
husbands.
too. Make it really easy and pretty.
Yes.
Like have it wrapped beautifully
Oh
so
my
it's something
gosh,
you're
yes.
proud to give.
100%.
And just make you look like you really put a lot of thought into it.
Yes.
But what you really did was hired the right consultant.
Yeah.
Lauren Sigman.
100%.
I love it. Okay.
My job is to make him look great. So his wife is happy. They have a happy birthday, anniversary, holiday, whatever it is, because she has probably already done all the legwork. And I've talked to her about her jewelry.
Let's be real. She's
wardrobe.
Probably done all the legwork.
She has
I
done
love
all
that.
the legwork, which is great, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, building a jewelry wardrobe. It is very personal. I understand that. I don't expect everyone to like do this and feel confident, but also know that you could. If you put on 10 necklaces right now and you walked around, people would be like, wow, she looks great.
Okay. I'm trusting you.
So much of this is about how you pull it off. Okay. There is a science to building a necklace stack.
Okay.
But know that it is personal.
Okay.
And it reflects who you are, and there's no wrong way to do it.
So I built like a bracelet stack over
Love
time. And this bracelet I'm wearing was my great-grandmother's. Her name is engraved in it. I don't know if you can see this, but there's dents in it. It's where my mother teethed on it as a baby.
That's
right?
amazing.
And then I built other bracelets and put it into it.
Amazing.
And I just feel like it's fun for it to evolve, right?
We do that every single day. One of the most fun things that we do in the store is take people's inherited jewelry, pieces from their grandmothers, from their moms, pieces they've had for many years, and we reimagine them. We reimagine them, or we help them add to them.
Okay.
We stack with them.
Okay.
And now vintage is so cool and hip. So pulling out those pieces and either redoing them, or let's modernize them by adding some other pieces is like absolutely fun, sustainable, makes sense, and helps
And you're
people.
being a good steward of what you've inherited, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right, so we know I can do kind of a bracelet stack.
Okay, that's
Show
great.
me how to do a necklace stack.
Okay.
I'm so excited about this.
Okay, so how we start the process a little bit easier for our clients is, and you'll see this if you ever come into our store, I literally have my case set up where it's one of the cases is all pendants. And when I say a pendant, this is a pendant.
Okay, am I wearing a pendant now?
You are not.
I'm not.
You're not.
Okay.
A stationary piece.
Pendant.
It doesn't
Okay.
have to be this. It could be a bar. It could be something hanging on a chain.
So you start with the pendant and that's the shortest one?
Correct. That is the shortest one.
Okay.
And then we go to something called a station.
Okay.
A station is something that lays under your pendant. I have one on and I forgot to lay it out, but it has stations, literally. I have a flower station on. I have a diamond station on right now. And an easy way to go is literally if you just are like, okay, I'm just getting started.
Okay.
I always wear this one piece. What do I do? Well, guess what? Now all you have to do is take that piece. We're going to add on and we're going to add a station. Now you may own a station and you may have to buy the original
I don't own
piece.
a station yet. That's going to go on my curation plan.
We're gonna get you a
I'm
station.
kind of glad you had to put the glasses on because I was like, how is she doing that over there?
Obviously not well. Right.
We get all this wisdom, but then we can't see later on.
Exactly. So it's just making sure that they're at different levels. Okay. Here is the key to an amazing necklace stack.
Okay.
You know how sometimes you buy a great dress and you have to take it to alterations, right? Jewelry is exactly the same.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to buy an extender and make it a little longer.
Okay.
Sometimes we need to add a ring
And that's something
on.
they can come to you for?
100%.
Perfect. Okay.
Yes. This is an extender.
Okay.
You just add it
Look
on
at
because
this.
this piece needs to be a little bit
I
longer.
didn't even know you could get an extender.
Right?
They
And
can buy them at your store.
You,
Okay, perfect.
We sell these every day.
Okay, good.
This is an extender that goes from 0 to 3 inches with a pull. You just pull. That's it. So now all of a sudden you have on a crew neck and something keeps falling in your shirt and you're like, I wish I could just have this a little longer.
Oh
Easy
my gosh,
peasy.
that's fantastic.
You add that on and now this is longer. Okay.
Okay.
So it's that simple. Now say you're like, but I have this charm and I love this charm. Can I wear this charm? Well, the answer is yes. Of course. The same way the extender works, we sell chains. This is an unbelievable chain where it goes from 0 to
0 to
16
hero.
to 18 to 24, right?
Love it.
It makes stacking for the person who is not quite sure how to stack very, very easy.
So the intro to stacking chain, you guys have that at the store too.
It just, yes,
Love it.
exactly. And it just makes things really, really easy.
She put a pennant with a bee on it.
Right.
Way to go, Lauren.
Yeah.
We're going to have to put that on my wish list.
It's my pleasure. So
look at what you're doing here. This is amazing. This is where I've done it all wrong. I didn't have the adjusters.
Okay, so that really is helpful.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I put the necklace on you that I put on you is maybe you want something that feels substantial.
Yeah.
That's just one necklace.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're buying something maybe a little chunkier.
Okay.
And all of those charms are on something called a removable charm hanger, and they snap on and off. You can just snap it on and off.
Look at her cute signature flower with the diamonds.
Right.
I love it.
So now you've gotten some confidence. You're like, okay, I have like 2 layers.
Okay.
But now everybody.
We want to supersize it. I want to supersize it. What else are we putting with
this?
This?
Right. You need something longer.
Okay.
So this is where when you come in and we spend time with our clients, how tall are you? Where does it fall? What's the purpose?
Yeah.
Are you working outside of the home? Like, what can you wear? What can't you wear?
Right.
Okay. So this is where then.
This is your signature flower.
This is, but look, this just pops off. Okay. So now
look at that.
You can take this and just create a look.
Love it.
But now you want to add on to it because we love a charm situation.
Of course we do.
Okay. So now you can start popping charms on
this
because this is easy. It's a paper clip. We make it really easy with our charms because we put them on removable bails. Okay.
So you don't have to put your reading glasses on before
Correct.
you put your charm on,
right?
For example.
And then you start adding. But then you're getting a little braver in what you know how to do, okay? And so then we start teaching you. Okay, now you can hook your chain in different places. You can create your own lariat, right?
Look at this.
Where you might hook it on. You might put this like this. We're going to move these. Sorry about my tag. We're going to hook this charm on.
Oh, I
the
love
bottom.
this.
So they're convertible.
This is PhD in necklace layering happening right now.
They are convertible. So
look at that.
Depending on what you're trying to create, we will help you with your goals.
Okay.
So all of our things are stackable, but guess what? All of your things are too.
Okay.
Often we have clients bring in what they own.
Okay.
And then we set it up on a form. And then we say, okay, what do you need? Do you actually, it's not that I don't want to sell them. It's just that maybe we can maneuver what you have. Maybe you just need an extender. Maybe you need a jump ring. Maybe we should add to your wish list a nice diamond flower, right?
Love it.
Maybe you need some charms to add on to this. So it's not just all about, don't think if you're going to come into the store, you have to buy something. You can come in and just
play.
Play.
We can just play.
This is the joy of owning a small store.
I love it.
That you can just come in. We're so easy. It's very comfortable. We love doing it. It's one of my very favorite things to do. And to watch people watch non-jewelry people become jewelry people is really fun.
I'm sure.
It's really,
Look
really
what's
fun.
happening to me right now. This is very animating.
And so we're happy to do it. It's It's so much easier than you think. And
Look at that.
so
I love
if
it.
you want to come in, if you're a man, you're spending money because gold is expensive. Gold continues to go up, but so does your.
You want to do it with courage and confidence, though, and that's the Lauren Sigman ingredient.
Well, and I think that what you said before is true. You are buying something that's expensive, but it's also worth something at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so you're not throwing your money away is the wrong wording, but you're getting value for what you're getting.
Yeah.
And, jewelry is emotional. People you're giving it to, your wife, your daughters, your mothers.
We're passing it down through the generations.
Yeah. People come in, they cry. We talk about their pieces that they've inherited. It's lovely. I mean, my job is lovely.
So, Lauren, this is just as cool as I thought it was going to be, maybe even a little bit cooler. I really appreciate your spending time with us today. To kind of recap, we talked a lot about courage, and you're going to give me the courage to layer necklaces now. So I'm really excited about that. But what you relied on to be courageous in your business was self-belief. You had role modeling, right? You had that one person that believed in you. And I loved what you started out with. I looked at best practices. I was willing to be an apprentice. I took courses. So you took on information and then you continued learning. So are there any other secret ingredients to courage you want to share with our audience today before we wrap up?
I would just say, don't give up. It is hard. There are days that are harder than others. And there's value in just sticking it out. Just keep going, keep asking questions, look for new information, and be brave. I mean, at the end of the day, you are the one who's going to create success or fade away. And, keep believing in yourself. If not you, who? So.
Well, I'm going to believe in myself by coming to you and figuring out how to build a necklace stack now. I'm really excited.
That's perfect. I will keep coming to you for business advice, and I am happy to dress you in jewelry.
I just appreciate the beauty you bring to our community, the hub of kind of culture and sophistication that your store is in our community. I know you've lifted up a lot of other women as you've been successful in your business, and we just want to celebrate you. Thanks for spending time with us today.
So appreciate that.
So we'll look forward to seeing you next time on the Be Student Podcast. We want you to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for joining us today. As I said before, I get to work with the most interesting, talented people in our region. I think you got to see that today working with Lauren Sigman. My passion in this podcast is you get to connect with the really interesting people that I get to connect with, and I appreciate being able to do that on the podcast. I hope that you'll like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. We'll look forward to seeing you next time on The Be Student.